Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation for another 5 Whiskeys You Need video. It started off as a pretty big trend, and it's made its way here to the K.O.E. Nation because, folks, you really need my analysis more than pretty much anybody on the internet. That's why you come here. So if you're at all a subscriber or a fan of the K.O.E. Nation, which you should be already, like, share, subscribe. Come on, folks. What are you doing? You would already know and be well aware of the 5 bourbons that I have picked out. That should be the 5 bourbons that are just apropos for each of their selective occasions. But I thought, why is Scotch not getting the same love? Why is nobody giving Scotch that same attention? So I thought, well, given that I'm the King of Extreme and the Lord of the Scottish Highlands, I figured I could do all of you out there, all of you denizens of the web, a huge favor by breaking down the 5 Scotches that you need. If you could only have 5, I know, but if you could only have 5, these would be it. And the categories are your daily drinker, the impress your guest Scotch, the cheap mixer Scotch, your Friday night drinker, and your special occasion bottle. So let's start off with one that we should all be able to guess. When it comes to the cheap mixers for Scotch whiskey, there is one Scotch to rule them all. There is one cheap mixer that you cannot deny, and that is Johnny Walker Red Label. It is the cheap mixer. It goes well with cola, goes well with tonic water, goes well with club soda. It just works. It's a good cheap mixer Scotch, and you can get these in giant 175s. It will do the job. It is 40% alcohol by volume, and I would recommend, I like Johnny Walker. I just pretty much like anything above the double black. Anything above that, I'm down. But if you're talking about your cheap mixers, does anybody in the audience have one that is more apropos for this purpose than this whiskey? So moving right along to the daily drinker, the one that you've just had a rough Wednesday and you just need a dram before bed. The one that I would select is, it's going to be all single malt from here, folks, just in case you're wondering. Cardew 12 Year, an excellent single malt Scotch whiskey. Also, Cardew is the base blend for Johnny Walker, but its single malt is an excellent, silky, smooth, just excellent Scotch whiskey. It's gonna be about $50 for a bottle, but I think in terms of just, I need a dram, this is the stuff to go to. I cannot complain. Tony G, also a huge fan of Cardew. Pretty much anybody that I've pulled this one out who likes Scotch whiskey, they're gonna enjoy it. Now, moving right along to the impress your guests. When the guests are over to my house and I want to impress, there's one that I'm generally going to reach for. You knew you were going to see the staghorns eventually here. The Dalmore 18-year-old. This one will impress your guests, folks. And if you're a Dalmore lover or a Dalmore hater, even if you are one of those, I don't even know why, like, I don't know what could cause such barbarians to promulgate in our society, but people who don't like Dalmore, this one you are still going to enjoy. 18 years old, spends 14 years in a bourbon cask, and then an extra 4 years, or anywhere from 4 to 19 years, or in, not 19, anywhere to 4 to like 6 years in a Methuselah sherry cask. Excellent stuff. It's, I cannot complain. So when I want to impress the guests, and I know that they actually appreciate Scotch whiskey, this is what I'm going to pour. If I know they don't really appreciate Scotch whiskey and they're just wanting to drink something that they're going to mix with cola, there. But right here, if I'm wanting to impress, this is the one I go for. Now, for me personally, for my Friday night pour, and we're moving on to that, I reached for something slightly different. Not entirely, but slightly. Dalmore Dominium. What sets Dominium apart is that it's first fill on sherry, which is what their Regalas and Luceo releases all had, as they were first fill of Methuselah, Amoroso, and Apostoli sherries, which does really set them apart. And this one, my goodness, chocolatey sherry is just what you smell when you just open the bottles. Chocolate and sherry and a slight bit of orange, not nearly as much as what you normally get from Dalmore, but a lot of chocolate and a lot of sherry. And so this is, I can understand this isn't going to be for everybody, but for me, this is my personal favorite of the now discontinued travel exclusive series. So this is my personal, but that's just my go-to for Friday night dram pours. So now we move on to the special occasion bottle for Scotch whiskey. Now this is one I have opened, but I haven't gotten too deep into it because it's only for special occasions. And that would be none other than Glenfiddich 21-year-old Caribbean Rum Cask Reserve. Excellent, excellent stuff. It's basically candy in a glass. I'm just gonna get a nose here. Wow, that's a lot. Like, you don't notice the ethanol nearly as much in this one. Now, this one is at 40% alcohol by volume. This one's 43, so you get a little bit more, but mouth-watering just smelling it. It is just so sweet and smooth, and that it's an old whiskey, but it doesn't drink harshly like one. Like, it has that rum really rounds it out. So it's one that I only go for very special occasions. As you can see, I've just barely got it past the shoulder, but that is one that I cannot recommend enough. If you are going to enjoy a Scotch whiskey for a special occasion with special friends, special family, special moments, this is one that I'd recommend. Now, honestly, my brother and I have gone through a bottle of Dalmore 18 over, it took us about 2 months, but we emptied it off. Many a good conversations, many good times. So that's what I could, when it comes to whether you're impressing your guests, special occasion, it can all kind of meld together. But this is my go-to, that if I could only have one Scotch whiskey for each of these different occasions, these would be my choices. Now, I know it's a very big shocker to you that Dalmore showed up more than once. In fact, I thought about just to troll Tony doing this video, but with just Dalmore. Like, all 5 of them were Dalmore, except there is none that I could disgrace with being a cheap mixer. I mean, like, even Dalmore 12, you really shouldn't mix. It's that amazing. So I thought, let's be fair. Let's let a few other folks get in on this. Now, folks, as you can tell from this particular offering, I'm more of a fan of the sweetened, not all that into the peated. We'll get into that another time, folks. Maybe a peated offering one of these days. But keep your eyes on this space right here, because we have plenty more content, maybe even another 5 whiskeys video coming. But as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining me for this very special 5 whiskeys video. I am your King of Extreme, the Lord of the Scottish Highlands, Phil K.O.E., signing off and handing it off. All of you beautiful people, raise a glass to yourself. Thanks for joining me, folks.